The Galactic Empire had ruled for hundreds of years. It was known as the Celestial Dominion. No one had ever beaten them. They had powerful ships, strong weapons, and smart leaders. They moved from planet to planet, taking control with little effort. Any rebellion was crushed before it could grow. Planets that fought back were destroyed. The Dominion did not care about life or freedom. They only cared about order and control. In a quiet corner of the galaxy, far from the Empire's main routes, a small group of rebels gathered on a hidden moon. They were made up of many species, some tall, some short, some with 4 arms, some with none. All of them had suffered under the Dominion. They had tried to fight back before, but every time they failed. The Dominion always knew their plans. They always arrived too soon. They always won. This time something was different. A new face had joined their ranks. His name was Luke Harper. He was human. He didn't look like much. Average height, average build, brown hair, tired eyes, but he had done something no one else had done. He had escaped from a Dominion prison ship. He told them how he got there. He used to work as an engineer for a space company on Earth. One day, while testing a new engine near Mars, he saw something strange. An object moving fast, too fast for any known craft. He tried to report it, but no one believed him. Then, one night, he was taken. No warning, no goodbye. Just gone. He woke up on a cold metal floor surrounded by guards who looked more machine than man. He spent months locked away, questioned again and again. They wanted to know why humans acted so strangely, why they took risks, why they didn't follow orders, why they kept fighting even when they couldn't win. They didn't understand him. And he didn't understand them. But now he was free, and he had come to help. The rebel leader, a large alien named Korak, looked at Luke with doubt. "Humans are weak," he said. "We have seen your kind. You do not last long in battle." Luke didn't argue. He just asked for a chance. "Give me a team," he said. "Let me show you what we can do." After some debate, Korak agreed. Luke was given a small squad of volunteers. Most were not soldiers. Some were pilots. Some were medics. One was a cook. They had little training and less hope. But they had Luke. He trained them. Not in the way the Dominion did, with strict rules and perfect timing, but in ways that used their brains, not just their strength. He taught them to move quietly, to think ahead, to use what they had even if it wasn't much. He showed them how to make traps, how to fake attacks, how to confuse the enemy. Soon they hit their first target, a small Dominion outpost on a frozen moon. The plan was simple: distract the guards, sneak in through the back, steal supplies, and leave before anyone knew what happened. It almost worked. Halfway through, one of the guards spotted them. The alarm went off. The team panicked, but Luke stayed calm. He changed the plan on the spot. Instead of running, they split into pairs. Each pair took out a section of the base. They moved fast. They used noise and light to trick the guards into chasing shadows. When the dust settled, the outpost was destroyed. The Dominion lost 2 patrol ships, a fuel depot, and 20 soldiers. The rebels lost only 1 man. Word spread quickly. Other groups began asking for human help. Some were curious, others were skeptical, but everyone wanted to see if this was real. Meanwhile, Luke met someone else who would change everything. Her name was Maya Carter. She was also human. She had been missing for over a year. Once a Marine in the United States military, she vanished during a routine spacewalk near the International Space Station. Like Luke, she had been taken by the Dominion. But unlike Luke, she had fought back. She had killed 2 guards and stolen a shuttle. She flew it across the stars until she found the rebels. She was tough, fast, and fearless. When she heard about Luke's mission, she wanted in. Together, they led more missions. Each time, they broke the rules of war. They didn't line up and shoot. They didn't wait for orders. They moved fast, struck hard, and disappeared before the Dominion could react. One mission stood out. A Dominion transport ship was carrying prisoners to a labor camp. Among them were several rebel leaders. Luke and Maya planned to stop it. They didn't have big ships or heavy weapons. They had only one stolen drone, a damaged escape pod, and a lot of nerve. They flew close to the transport ship hiding behind asteroids. When the time came, they sent the drone forward, making it look like a distress signal. The Dominion ship slowed down to investigate. In that moment, Luke and Maya dropped from above in the escape pod, landing right on the ship's hull. What followed was chaos. They cut through the outer shell and dropped inside. Alarms blared. Guards rushed in. Bullets flew. Maya fought like a storm. Luke hacked into the ship's systems, locking doors and opening vents to slow the guards down. They reached the prisoners, freed them, and jumped into spacesuits. They opened an emergency hatch and let the air rush out, pulling the guards away. Then they launched themselves into open space, where their team picked them up. The Dominion lost another ship. The rebels gained new leaders. And the legend of the humans grew. Back on the Dominion capital, high-ranking officials watched the reports with growing concern. "They do not act like others," said one officer. "They change their plans mid-fight. They take risks that should not work, and yet they win." Another officer frowned. "They are unpredictable and dangerous," added a third. "We must learn more." Orders were sent across the Empire. Capture any human alive. Study them. Find out what makes them different. But it was already too late. The rebels had found something they never had before. Hope. And it came in the form of two humans. Luke Harper and Maya Carter. Okay. The rebellion had changed since Luke and Maya arrived. Before them, the rebels were like mice in a maze, always running, always hiding, never winning. But now, they had something new. It was not better weapons or more soldiers. It was something harder to explain. Maybe it was hope. Maybe it was fearlessness. Maybe it was just the way humans did things differently. Luke and Maya trained more humans who had been captured by the Dominion. Some had been taken from Earth long ago. Others had only just arrived. They all had one thing in common. They were not broken. Even after being locked up, beaten, questioned, they still wanted to fight. The rebels began to notice this. They saw how the humans talked, how they laughed even when things looked bad, how they made plans that seemed crazy at first but somehow worked, and most of all, how they never gave up. One day, a new alien joined the rebel base. Her name was Vera Solis. She was not a rebel. She was an officer in the Dominion Army, but she had come alone with no guards, no weapons, only questions. Vera was tall and thin with pale blue skin and eyes that glowed faintly in the dark. She wore a black uniform with silver lines that moved like water when she walked. She spoke, in a calm voice, but there was fire behind her words. "I have studied your attacks," she told Luke and Maya. "Your tactics do not make sense. You do not follow any known rules of war." Mayo, a small green alien cook who had joined the team, snorted. "Humans don't like rules. We adapt," Luke said. "When things go wrong, we change. We don't stop." Vevra tilted her head. "You improvise." "Yeah," Maya said. "And we win." Vevra asked many questions. She wanted to know why humans took risks, why they trusted each other so fast, why they kept going even when they were hurt. She watched them train. She saw how they worked together, not as soldiers, but as friends. After a few days, she left without saying goodbye. But she left behind something else: fear. Back on the Dominion capital world, Vevra stood in front of the High Council. They were all tall, cold beings with minds linked to a central network. They did not feel pain. They did not feel fear. But they felt danger. "The humans are unlike any enemy we have faced," Vevra said. "They are not strong. They are not fast. But they are unpredictable. They do not think like us. They do not act like us. And worst of all, they do not stop." One of the council members spoke. "What is their weakness?" Vevra paused. "We do not know. We have tried to study them. We have watched them. We have tested them. But they keep changing, they keep learning. They are not just fighters, they are leaders. Another council member asked, "Can they be stopped?" Vevra looked down. "Not if they keep spreading." Meanwhile, back at the rebel base, more humans had arrived. They had escaped from Dominion labs hidden on faraway moons. Some had strange marks on their bodies where the Dominion had cut into them. They had been tested, watched, and studied. One of them was a man named Ethan Cole. He had once been a teacher on Earth. He taught history and science, then one day he vanished. Now he carried scars on his arms and a look in his eyes that showed he had seen too much. He told Luke and Maya what the Dominion was doing. "They want to understand us," he said. "They don't know why we fight so hard, why we keep going, why we keep winning." Mayo frowned. "Don't they get it? It's because we're alive." "No," Ethan said. "They don't. They think life is about control, about order. They don't understand chaos. They don't understand heart." Luke looked at Maya. "Then we give them something to study." Soon, the rebels launched a new attack. This time, it was not a small outpost. It was a full Dominion research station built inside an asteroid. The station held files, samples, and test results from years of human studies. The plan was simple: sneak in, steal the data, and destroy the place. Luke led the team. Maya covered the rear. Ethan hacked the security systems. Mayo brought explosives. They flew in silent ships, hiding behind space rocks. They landed on the asteroid's far side. The station was deep inside, protected by lasers, drones, and guards. They moved fast. Luke split the team. One group went through the vents, another came in from below using mining tunnels. Maya and Ethan stayed outside to block escape routes. Inside, the Dominion scientists barely had time to react. The humans moved like ghosts. They didn't shoot unless they had to. They used smoke, noise, and tricks to confuse the guards. In the main lab, they found what they were looking for: data drives filled with reports on human behavior, biology, and psychology. The Dominion had been trying to copy human traits into their own soldiers. They had failed every time. "Because you can't program courage," Mayo said, tossing a drive into a bag. They set the charges and ran. When the station blew, it lit up the dark like a dying star. Word spread across the galaxy. The rebels had hit the Dominion where it hurt. They had stolen secrets and destroyed knowledge, and once again humans had led the way. On the Dominion capital, the council met in secret. "This cannot continue," one said. "They are becoming legends," another added. "Then we must end the legend," said the third. "Capture all humans. Bring them to us. We will learn what makes them tick, and we will break them." But again it was too late. The humans were no longer just fighters. They were symbols. They were hope, and they were just getting started. Okay, the rebellion was growing. More species were joining every day. Some had been slaves to the Dominion for centuries. Others had fought alone and lost. Now, they all saw something new in the humans, something they had never seen before. Luke Harper and Maya Carter had become leaders. Not because they asked for power, but because others followed them without being told. They didn't give long speeches or wear medals. They just did what needed to be done. But Luke and Maya knew one thing: they could not win by hitting small targets forever. They needed a plan, a big one. On a moon hidden behind thick clouds of dust and gas, the rebel council met. It was made up of many beings, some tall, some short, some with skin like stone, some who floated instead of walked. They had come from far places, bringing old weapons, broken ships, and tired hearts. The meeting was tense. "We keep winning small fights," said Korak, the large alien leader. "But we still lose the war, because we do not strike at the heart," said a woman named Elena Morris, another human who had escaped the Dominion. She had once been a doctor on Earth. Now she carried a rifle and spoke with fire in her voice. "We hit their arms, but not their head." Luke looked around the room. "We need to go after their core worlds." There was silence. Those worlds were deep inside Dominion space, heavily guarded, full of soldiers, weapons, and machines that never slept. No one had ever tried to attack them and lived. Vevra Solis, the former Dominion officer who had joined the rebels, stood up. She had changed since she first came to the base. She no longer wore her black uniform. Her glowing eyes looked less cold now. "You are right," she said. "But you cannot fly straight into them. You must make them come to you." Mayo, the green cook-turned-soldier, scratched his head. "What do you mean?" Vevra smiled slightly. "We make them think we are attacking somewhere else. We draw their forces away. Then we strike when they are weak." Maya's eyes lit up. "Like a trap." "Yes," Vevra said, "but not just any trap. A real one." They spent days planning. They would fake an attack on a major Dominion shipyard. If they made it look real enough, the Dominion would send most of its fleet there to stop them. While they were gone, a giant, small team would slip into the capital world and destroy the main command center. It was a crazy idea, which meant the humans loved it. Luke picked the team himself. He wanted only the best. Maya, of course. Mayo, because he was good with explosives. Ethan Cole, the teacher-turned-fighter, because he could hack anything. And Vevra, because she knew how the Dominion thought. They flew in small ships, hiding in the shadows of dead moons and broken satellites. They used old tricks, fake radio signals, false heat trails, even a stolen Dominion drone that sent fake orders to real Dominion ships. Soon, the Dominion took the bait. Their main fleet turned toward the shipyard. Alarms went off. Fighters launched. The trap was working. Now was the time. The team slipped into Dominion space. They moved fast and quiet. They landed on the capital world under cover of night, using a disabled freighter to blend in. Inside, the city was huge and cold. Towers of metal and glass reached into the sky. Everything looked perfect, too clean, too still. People moved like ghosts, heads down, never speaking. Luke led the way. They reached the command center, a massive building in the heart of the city. It held the main data cores, the control panels for the Empire's fleets, and the central AI that ran half the Dominion systems. This was the brain. If they destroyed it, the Dominion would be blind. They split up. Mayo and Ethan went to plant the charges. Maya and Vevra covered the exits. Luke hacked into the main system looking for files, secrets, anything that might help the rebels later. Then the alarm went off. Someone had seen them. Guards poured in from all sides. Shots rang out. Smoke filled the halls. Maya fired fast, moving like lightning. Vevra fought with her bare hands, using moves none of them had seen before. In the control room, Luke found something strange. A file marked Project Genesis. He opened it. What he saw chilled him. The Dominion had been trying to create super soldiers, copies of humans grown in labs, trained to fight, to obey, to kill. They had failed so far, but they were close. He copied the file just as a guard shot near his head. "Time to go," Maya yelled. They ran. The charges were set. The exit was blocked. Mayo pulled a lever on his belt. The floor beneath them opened. They dropped into a tunnel below. Seconds later, the building exploded above them. The shockwave knocked out power across the city. The Dominion's command center was gone. Their central AI was offline. Their ships had no orders, and the rebels had won the biggest battle yet. Word spread fast. Aliens who had once doubted the humans now believed. Species that had given up hope began to rise again. And back on Earth, someone watched the news and smiled. His name was Ethan Cole, and he was ready to join the fight. Okay, back on Earth, things were not the same. For years, people had looked up at the stars and wondered if they were alone. Some said yes. Others said no. But now, everyone knew the truth. The Dominion was real, and humans were fighting them. It started with a video. A man stood in front of a camera. He was not a soldier or a leader. He used to teach science in a small town. His name was Ethan Cole. He had been missing for months. Now he was back. He spoke clearly, calmly, but his words shook the world. "They took me," he said. "They took others too. They studied us, tested us, tried to understand why we fight. Why we don't stop. I escaped. Now I'm here to tell you, we are not weak. We are not just meat. We are fire. And it's time to light the sky. The video spread fast. Copied, shared, watched by millions. Governments denied it at first, called it fake, called Ethan a fraud. But more videos came, more voices, more stories, people who had lost loved ones to strange lights in the sky, to silent ships that vanished before anyone could see them. Then came the proof. Photos, data files stolen from the Dominion, maps of hidden bases, names of those taken, all released. At once people believed, and then they acted across the world. Protests began. Not against each other, but against silence, against fear, against doing nothing while their kind fought across the stars. In small towns and big cities, people gathered. Engineers, pilots, doctors, teachers, farmers, even kids with smart minds and fast fingers. They built, not weapons like before, not bombs, not tanks, but ships, tools, ways to reach space. Old rockets were fixed. New ones were made. Retired astronauts came out of hiding. Former soldiers joined. Hackers broke into secret labs and stole what they could. A movement formed. They called themselves the Human Vanguard. Not because they wanted war, but because they would lead the way. And they were not waiting for permission on a cold morning. In Colorado, a launch site lit up the sky. A ship rose into the clouds. It was not sleek, not perfect, but it flew. Aboard it were 30 humans, scientists, fighters, dreamers. Among them was Ethan Cole. Also there was Jess Wilson, a pilot who had flown cargo ships across the Pacific. She never left Earth until now. But she could fly anything with wings. There was also Dr. Sam Parker, a biologist who had spent years studying how life survived in extreme places. Now he would test his theories in deep space. And there was Tom Reyes, a mechanic who had built half the ship with his own hands. They were not heroes, but they were ready. Weeks passed, then months. Rumors reached the rebels. Something was coming, from Earth. At first they thought it was a trick, a Dominion trap. But then the reports grew stronger. Ships, built by humans, flying toward the outer colonies. Luke Harper heard the news while resting on a rebel base hidden inside an asteroid belt. He read the message twice. Earth is coming. He smiled. Back in Dominion space, the High Council met again. They had lost the command center. They had lost control of many systems, but they still ruled much of the galaxy until now. Humans from Earth are moving, one officer said. They are building ships, forming groups. They are not afraid. Fevra Solis, now fully sided with the rebels, had warned them this would happen. You cannot cage humans, she had told them. They find ways out, always. Now the Dominion had a choice. Fight harder, or fall. Their answer came fast. Orders went out across the Empire. Block all human ships. Destroy all rebel forces. Take Luke Harper and Maya Carter alive. War was coming. But so were the humans. As the human vanguard ships moved deeper into space, they sent a message to all free worlds. We are not running anymore. We are not hiding. We are here, and we are not going back. The message was short, but it carried weight. Because for the first time in history, humans were not just defending their home. They were taking the fight to the stars, and they were bringing everything they had. Heart, courage, and fire. Okay, the final battle was coming. The Dominion had gathered its forces. Hundreds of warships, thousands of soldiers, and machines that never tired. They knew if they lost this fight, their empire would fall. On the other side were the rebels and the human vanguard. Ships made from old parts, stolen tech, and new hope. They did not have more weapons. They did not have better armor. But they had something else. They had Luke Harper. They had Maya Carter. And they had Earth. The plan was simple. Hit hard, hit fast, and hit where it hurt most. Luke stood on the bridge of a captured Dominion cruiser. He looked at the stars and thought about how far they had come. Once he was just an engineer with no place in the world. Now, he was leading a fight across the galaxy. Mayo, the green cook-turned-soldier, walked up beside him. "You ready for this?" Luke smiled. "No, but we're doing it anyway." Mayo nodded. "Good. I brought extra bombs." The fleet moved into position above the Dominion capital. The city below was dark, cold, filled with silent towers and quiet streets. The Dominion had pulled everyone inside. They were waiting. The attack began. Ships dove through space like falling stars. Lasers lit up the black. Explosions bloomed like flowers of fire. Luke led the ground team. Maya, Mayo, Ethan Cole, and a mix of rebels from many worlds. They landed near the main command center, the same one they had destroyed before. But the Dominion had rebuilt it. This time, they were going all the way in. Inside, the halls were lined with guards. Drones flew like angry bees. Walls closed in. Traps waited in the dark, but so did the humans. They moved fast. They split up. They used tricks. Smoke. Noise. False alarms. They made the Dominion chase ghosts while they slipped deeper into the building. Vevra, the former Dominion officer turned rebel, stayed close to Luke. She knew how the Dominion fought. She knew how they thought. "They will try to cut off our escape," she said. "They want us trapped." "Then we don't get trapped," Luke said. They reached the core room. It was huge, full of glowing lines, floating screens, and a big machine in the center that ran the whole Dominion network. Ethan started hacking. His fingers flew over keys. He opened doors, shut down defenses, let the rebels in. But then the alarm changed, not the normal kind. This one was deep, low, like the sound of thunder under the skin. "What's that?" Mayo asked. Vevra's eyes went wide. "They've activated Genesis." Everyone stopped. Genesis was the Dominion's last hope. A project they had been working on for years. Human copies, made in labs, trained to obey, built to kill. They were real, and now they were awake. The doors burst open. Humans. But not like Luke or Maya. These ones had blank faces, cold eyes, perfect bodies. They moved like machines. One stepped forward. He looked at Luke. "You are not needed anymore," he said. Then he attacked. The fight was brutal. Bullets barely slowed them. They did not feel pain. They did not make mistakes. But Luke and Maya did not stop. They fought with everything they had. Maya kicked one through a wall. Luke threw another into a control panel. Mayo set off a bomb and took out half the room. Vevra fought like a storm. She knew what these things were, and she knew how to break them. Ethan finished the hack. "Got it," he yelled. "I can shut them down." "Do it," Luke shouted. Ethan pressed a button. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, the Genesis soldiers froze. Their eyes dimmed. They fell like statues. It worked. Outside, the Dominion fleet was breaking apart. The human vanguard and the rebels had pushed through. They had taken key ships, turned Dominion weapons against themselves. In orbit, the Dominion flagship exploded. On the planet, the people came out of hiding. They saw what was happening. They saw the Dominion was weak. They rose. Aliens who had once been slaves now held guns. They stormed the last Dominion bases, freed prisoners, took back their homes. And in the heart of the capital, Luke and his team walked out of the ruins. They were bruised, tired, bleeding, but alive. Days passed. The Dominion was gone. Its leaders had fled or died. Its systems were offline. Its ships were captured or destroyed. Across the galaxy, planets declared their freedom. A new alliance formed. The United Free Worlds. Humans were part of it, not as rulers, but as protectors, builders, and friends. Luke and Maya stayed on as advisors. They helped train new fighters, teach others how to think, not just shoot. Vevra returned to her people. She helped them rebuild, and she told them the truth. The Dominion had fallen, not because of strength, but because of spirit. Back on Earth, Ethan Cole gave one last speech. "We were never alone," he said. "We were never weak. We were just waiting for our chance to show what we could do." People cheered. Kids looked up at the stars and dreamed. And somewhere, in the dark of space, a small ship floated. Inside it, a lone Dominion AI powered up. It read the final reports. It watched videos of the humans fighting. It listened to their voices. Then it sent one message to itself: never underestimate the humans. And it shut down. Forever.